Today we'll be making the Tyson Air Fried Chicken in the Emeril Air Fryer. It seems like it should be straightforward, and it kind of is, but I wanted to give you guys a few tips and tricks to keeping it not so messy. The breading can drop off and it can get a little messy. So I'm going to show you how to avoid that. Go over my suggested cooking times. Just a quick review on the chicken itself. It's actually pretty good. It's all white meat, which is important to me. Little bits of fat every now and then, but it's nothing that's going to stop you from buying this. They make it in 3 different flavors. The spicy is a little bit too spicy for me, but to be fair, I'm not into spicy food to begin with. So you know, if you love spicy, it's definitely spicy. So check it out. I stick with the plain, and then I'll show you some of the sauces that I add. Everything from certain barbecue sauces to honey mustard. Tastes delicious. It's a quick, easy meal. One of the other tips is, and I'll show you this, is to after you lay it out, is to let it defrost a little bit. Everything made in the Emeril Air Fryer and the microwave for that matter, even the oven, tastes better. All frozen food tastes better if you let it thaw out first. So depending on how much time you have, you should let this thaw out. In general, if you give it at least 30 minutes, you should be fine. If you can do it a little bit longer, even better. As you'll just see here real quick, you can make it in a conventional oven, but in the air fryer, they're saying 300 degrees for 12 minutes. That's a joke. I found that 350 works best to get that crispiness and to cook it in a reasonable amount of time, and 12 to 14 minutes does not do it at all, especially if it was frozen. There's no way. So maybe a different air fryer, but definitely not in the Emeril. You're going to need at least 20 to 40 minutes in our case, depending on how much chicken you put on there. But most likely it's like 30 minutes or so. So let me set this up, and let me just show you, you know, how I place it on there and what I do in using the foil. If you're noticing how shiny this is, you know, I'm not showing off, but I actually did make a separate video. I had spent over a year demoing different products to get that shine back, to get rid of the watermarks and the fingerprints. You'll notice nice and clean. In here you'll notice I have foil, which it's very controversial, but I have debated this at length, and I've written on it at length in the comment section. I have a whole separate video on using the foil, tips and tricks for using the Emeril, so you can check that out. I also, you can check that out, the inside. I also have a separate video on how to clean the inside for those of you that have, if you're noticing, but it's very easy to accumulate those grease, the hardened on brown stuff. I have a separate video on the tool you need to get rid of that, but anyway, let's get on with this. I will show you how to place it and how to cook it. Okay, it does come with a resealable bag, although I just had difficulty trying to get it open originally. But inside, you got your frozen tenders. And the reason why we're going to lay these out now while they're, we're not going to let it defrost inside the bag, because if you do, you know, the batter, the little bits and stuff start to fall apart. So while they're still frozen on there and coagulated, we're going to try to do this. The idea here is we're using the bottom bake tray as a secondary drip tray. So any of those breadings that falls off are going to fall onto here. We're using the air frying basket, of course, but if you were to just place it in the air fry basket alone, it's going to fall through. You're going to get little bits, so you'll see that this will catch it. Yeah, and if you do it outside of the Emeril, you can do that, but make sure you're doing it over either a dish or over this baking tray. And we're just going to place a few on there. You can already see in the back the little bits fell. That's why we got the trick. And these are decent sized pieces. You'll notice, some of you may have noticed already, that a lot of stuff on whatever you cook on the left hand side of an Emeril will tend to brown a bit faster. My theory on that is because the air blower, the heat element that you use for air frying is on the right hand side. It blows air from right to left. It bounces off this wall and hits whatever food is on here. So it's kind of getting like a double heating versus the others. All right, so these are all loaded up. Those are the main pieces. There's little bits left here, and there's a lot of the crumbs in there. A lot of that stuff falls off, as I was saying, and it does end up on here. see that's all the stuff that we caught, and that was the whole purpose of this, why we did it like that. So now we're just going to leave that inside there. I'm going to leave it for 30 minutes. I'm going to come back to you so you can see it again, and we'll start the whole process. But we definitely need to let it thaw for at least 30 minutes. If you have more time, let it be, but if not, 30 minutes is all you need. Even 20 minutes probably you get away with it. Okay, we're back. It's been about 30 minutes, and these are not completely defrosted by any means, but they're definitely pliable. Not quite as frozen as they were. So this is about the minimum that you need. If you notice, I leave the door open just for the exchange of airflow. Definitely accumulated a lot of crumbs here. You can empty them out, which I may actually do right now, just so they don't risk flying around. I got the majority, so it slides right back in. Now, as we said, forget what they mentioned, 300. You're going to go for 350. I'm going to put on 40 minutes. We may not need the full 40 minutes. After 20 minutes, I'm going to come back. We're going to check it. Depending on how daring or how much mess you're willing to create, you can flip it around, because as I mentioned, the left side tends to cook a little bit faster. I explained why before. You can just flip them, rotate them, and then the other side will be cooking on that side. But when you do that, you risk that bits will fall off. So it's not a big deal if you don't, and if you just want to let it set it and forget it, that's not a problem either. So let's do that for now, and we will come back in 20 minutes. All right, so we're right about the 20-minute mark, and I'm going to open this up just to show you how they are progressing. Pull these out at the same time. I am letting a lot of heat out, so I may have to run it for a little bit longer. But essentially that's what they look like. It's starting to get a little bit crispy. Our goal here, it's already starting to feel nice and crispy already, so we're not going to need much more time at all. Just maybe brown it a little bit. But the goal is to get it crispy on the outside and juicy on the inside. So when you throw this back in, probably not more than another 10 minutes. And we'll be good to go. Alright, we're just after 27 minutes. I'm going to stop it here to show you what these guys look like. Always use an oven mitt or something, because this whole Emeril gets very, very, very hot, every part of it. Best to slide this out first, then pull out this tray in case more of those little bits fall off. So what we're looking for, let me bring this a little bit closer, are the little bits of brown edge here. And again, it's a little bit of an art and science. It depends on what, how long you let it defrost or didn't let it defrost. If you had let it defrost even more, cooking time would have been even less. If you don't let it defrost enough, cooking time would arguably be more. Let's grab a plate. I'm going to open one of these up, and I'm going to show you what we're going for here. Part of my hands, but I'm trying to hold it at the same time. So if I pull this apart, you'll see that it's nice. First of all, I can. This is well cooked. There's no pink or anything like that. You can hear the bits of crunch, I hope. If I bite it, you can hear the crunch. I'll pull out some more pieces for you. This is where it can get messy. You already see all the crumbs on the plate. That's what they're starting to look like. See that brown? That's what we're going for on the edges. And you can cook it a little bit more. It just depends on how you like it. This was perfect because it's still juicy inside. It's not dried out. What I have on my plate here are the ideal condiments for chicken tenders. I have honey barbecue sauce and honey mustard. The honey mustard is a must. I did a whole separate review on this. This is Amazon's brand. It's A-Plenty. It's a perfect a blend of tartness and sweetness and that whole mustard flavor. It's just perfect. And then there are so many of these barbecue sauces out there. My favorite is the original, or hickory brown rather, Baby Ray's. And I'm not doing a good job of showing that. But this is amazing. I didn't present it all that well. Let me close this up so I can show you better. When you're done, the cleanup becomes super easy. This tray lifts right out. You don't even have to change the foil. You can just dump these crumbs out in the bin, replace it, you're good to go for the next time. And I managed to pull out the whole drip tray. But here we are. And obviously you can present it much nicer than that. But this is what we're going for. Got a little bit messy here. Here's that aplenty I was talking about. And here is the baby rays. Delicious. I actually like to have both at the same time. This isn't just for show. I alternate, even dipping a little bit in both. It sounds crazy, but try it. It's delicious. The alternating sweet and barbecue. There's always a bit of a trade-off. These claim to be 75% less fat than restaurant brand chicken nuggets or chicken tenders. So it's not going to taste the same. Nothing in the Emeril tastes the same as deep fried, but certainly worth the trade-off and certainly worth trying. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, subscribe down below, and I thank you for joining me.